Hi guys, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Indah Fadillah Rahman, student from Jambi University, Faculty of Agriculture, Department of Forestry, with student ID number L1A119052. In here, I wanna explain about classification of agroforestry. Let's see my video, guys. The first, I wanna explain about classification based on its constituent components. Classification based on its constituent components. The first is agri-silvicultural system. Agri-silvicultural system is an agroforestry system that combines forestry component or woody plants with agricultural components or non-timber crops. Timber plants are intended for long cycle tree crops and non-timber crops of annual crops. In agri-silviculture, multi-purpose trees or trees are planted for the purpose of protecting agricultural lands. Often found, the two constituent components are woody plants. For example, is gamal on a cocoa plantation and synonym with coffee. The second is silvopastoral system, an agroforestry system that includes forestry components or woody plants with a livestock component or pasture is referred to as a silvopastoral system. For example, is tree and shrub on pasture. The third is agro-silvopastoral system, combination of woody components forestry with agriculture, seasonal, and at the same time livestock or animal in the same land management unit. The combination in agro-silvopasture is carried out in a planned manner to optimize the function of production and service, especially the woody or forestry component, to human or community to serve people. For example of agro-silvopasture practice is a home garden and forest garden. And will next classification based on developed period. The first is traditional or classical agroforestry. In the local community, various forms of practice of combining woody plants, trees, shrub, plant, bamboo, and etc. are found with agricultural and livestock crops. This practice is found in one land management unit to a landscape of a rural ecosystem. And the second is modern agroforestry. Various forms and technologies of agroforestry will develop after the introduction of the term agroforestry in the late 70s. Categorized as the modern agroforestry. Modern agroforestry generally only looks at the combination of perennial or commercial trees with selected intermediaries. In contrast to traditional and classical agroforestry, hundreds of usual trees outside the main components or wildlife data and integrate part of traditional system may no longer be present in modern agroforestry. Some examples of modern agroforestry that can be found in several areas in Indonesia are various models in intercropping. And then classification by agroecological zone. According to NER 1989, the classification of agroforestry can also be viewed from its distribution or based on agroecological zone, namely the first is agroforestry located in lowland tropical humid-tropic. The second is agroforestry in highland tropical humid-tropic, and the third is agroforestry in lowland humid subtropical areas, and the last is agroforestry in highland humid subtropical areas. And next, classification based on economic orientation. The first is subsistence agroforestry. In accordance with its subsistence scale, or often termed origin of life. The form of agroforestry in this classification are cultivated by landowner as an effort to meet the needs of daily life. The main things, of course, relate to effort to fulfill the family's food needs. The second is semi-commercial agroforestry in areas where accessibility is starting to open, especially when it comes to community groups who have high economic motivation in land use. There is an increasing tendency to increase productivity and quality of product that can be marketed for cash. However, with limited investment, the reach of product marketing is not yet available. Expanded and coupled with a subsistence lifestyle, guaranteeing the fulfillment of daily needs remain the most important basic for consideration. The third is commercial agroforestry. On a commercial scale orientation, activities are emphasized to maximize the main product, which is usually only from one type of plant in the combination form. See discussion on modern agroforestry. The characteristic pose are usually not much different between various forms of implementation, but in the scope of agriculture or forestry, which include the composition only consists of 2 to 3 combination of plant species. One of them is the main commodity, while the other component function as supporting elements. And will next classification by production system. The first is forest-based agroforestry. Forest-based agroforestry systems are basically various forms of agroforestry that begin with the clearing of some forest or shrub areas for agricultural activities and are known an agroforest. The second is farm-based agroforestry. Farm-based agroforestry is considered to be more organized than agroforest, with the main product being agricultural crops or livestock depending on the dominant agricultural product system in the area. The forestry component is a supporting element for increasing productivity or system sustainability. The third is household-based agroforestry. Agroforestry developed in the area of home garden is also called homestead agroforestry in Bangladesh. In Indonesia, the famous model of the Tolen Garden in West Java. Meanwhile, in East Kalimantan, there is a traditional garden owned by a large family clan. This condition can occur because in the past several families lived together in low house, or referred to as Lamin C. Sarjono 1990. In various areas in Indonesia, there is usually planted the fruit trees with food crops. And then classification by scope of management. The first is agroforestry at site level or plot scale. Combination of component of woody plants forestry with non-timber crops, agriculture, and or livestock in one land management unit is commonly discussed in agroforestry. This system is usually carried on land owned by individual farmer or owned by legal entities companies. The emphasis of this form of agroforestry is the optimization of combination through simulation and manipulation of plant or animal species, and often on a relatively limited land scale in transmigration garden with an average area of 0.25 hectare. Understanding the character of species and their response in combination is the key to successful agroforestry at this level. The second is agroforestry at the landscape level. In a rural landscape in several regions in Indonesia, various land use can be found between sites. Even in some rural community groups, land allocation is best negotiated based on sharedness and suitability to site condition or characteristic based on traditional experience. For example, in the Dayak Kenya community in Batu Majang, East Kalimantan, in addition to the area use settlement which will develop more garden, there is also a village area that is maintained as a protected forest. The local term is Tanah Ulen. And the last classification based on constituent components. The first is simple agroforestry, AF pattern consisting of one type of forest plant and annual plant. For example, is teak with corn, coconut with peanuts, sengon with coffee, eucalyptus with peanut. The second is complex agroforestry. It is a tree-based sedentary farming system. The constituent components are trees, shrubs, annual plants, and grass. For example, is AF in HR in the upstream areas of Sengon, with cloves, with kabi, and with kaliandra. Finally, I finished to explaining classification of agroforestry. Thank you for your attention. Sorry for my mistake. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you in the next video.